Hi everyone, and welcome to episode 21 of Power Pop Shakers. This is where I talk about Power Pop, new releases and the odd reissue as well. If you go to my channel and click on playlists, you can listen to the tracks that I'm talking about today. And the first track I've uploaded is by Cyanide Pills, and it's called The Kids Can't Be Trusted with Rock and Roll. And it's from the LP and CD soundtrack to the new Cold War, which is out on Damaged Goods label. It's the fourth album from this long-standing band from Leeds, Yorkshire, although it's actually been 6 years since their last album. They've got a classic late 70s pop-punk sound, and they're currently in California doing a short tour. And the next track I've uploaded is 7 Inch by Randalls, which is available as a 7-inch single on the Spanish label Jarama. Actually came out back in December 2022, but I've only recently become aware of it. The band come from the south of Sweden, and this is more classic late 70s influenced pop punk, with more than a nod to the bubblegum pop sound of the Ramones. Next up, it's Wreckless Eric and Standing Water. His profile is the highest here in the UK that it's been for many years. He's just appeared on BBC Two's Later with Jules Holland. He's also been interviewed in a number of music magazines and also in the Guardian newspaper. And it's all in support of his new album, Leisureland, which is out on the Tap It label on LP and CD. The clever wordplay and ramshackle pop melodies aren't a million miles away from his sound on Stiff in the 1977-78 period. Next up, I've uploaded First Sight by The Prize, and this is their second 7-inch single. Band come from Melbourne, Australia, 4-piece on the Anti-Fade label, and you can also get it on the Drunken Sailor label. Their 3-guitar rock and roll sound, topped with some slick lead vocals and harmonies, a real statement of intent by this band. Next up, I've uploaded The Whiffs and Satellites, which is a 7-inch single on the Dig label. And these are 2 previously unreleased tracks which were recorded for their Scratch and Sniff album, which came out a few months ago. This is more addictive garage power pop from the Kansas City 4-piece. And the next track that I've put onto the Power Pop Shakers playlist is by Bobby Sutcliffe, and it's called Come On Home, and it's from the CD Bob Sings and Plays, which is out on the Career label, and it was released sadly posthumously after he passed away last year. He's fondly remembered by me for his band from the 1980s, the Windbreakers, that bathed their sound in some really beautiful chiming Rickenbacker guitars. And this track in particular, Come On Home, reminds me of the Windbreakers. Next up, it's Chris Stamey and the track She Might Look My Way, and it comes from the CD The Great Escape on School Kid Records. And this marks a return to his classic 1980s power pop sound, and with a hint of Byrds country rock in there as well. She Might Look My Way is an Alex Chilton cover, and Stamey's woebegone vocals really channel his hero perfectly on this track. For fans of Big Star and the DBs, this is a little piece of magic. Next up, it's Roger Joseph Manning Jr., and I've uploaded Rocking It Our Way, and it comes from the Omnivore CD and LP Radio Days and Glamping. He's the Jellyfish co-founder, of course, and the Omnivore release includes 4 new tracks plus a reissue of his EP Glamping, which came out 2 or 3 years ago. This is a set of upbeat glam power pop, and it's filled out with some live tracks as well on the CD. Next up, I've uploaded 2 tracks by Comet Gain, You're Just Lonely and When, and they come from the Misfit Jukebox LP and CD. David Christian has looked through the Comet Gain archive and has come up with 17 tracks here, which are a mix of outtakes, demos and live recordings. And this is just a sample of the tracks that he's been releasing via digital downloads on Bandcamp. Next up, it's Lonely Girl by the Let's Goes, and it's from the CD Kill by Pop on the Sniffing Glue label. They're a fun punk rock trio from Japan, influenced by the Shonen Knife, and they even cover a track by the Shonen Knife, Girls Rock, but with a slightly punkier sound, and most of the tracks are sung in Japanese. Next up, it's a track by Spearside, Trendsetters, and it's a 7-inch single on the Kill Cool label. It's their 4th single. They're an Irish trio. They've got some frantic, distorted guitars which are kept in place with a tune that Buzzcocks or Undertones fans would really appreciate, I think. They're the sort of band that would have been poached by a major label if this was the late 70s new wave era. And the next track that I've put onto the Power Pop Shakers playlist is by Cult Figures, and it's called Mr. Producer, and it's from the CD LP Between Us and Heaven on the Gare du Nord label. Their roots go right back to the late 70s when they recorded 2 singles on the Swell Maps label, Rava. They re-emerged in 2016, and this is their 3rd album, the first since the sad passing of original vocalist Gary Jones. It's utterly gorgeous pop songs here with chiming guitars and tinges of melancholy in the vocals, and another extraordinary British group which should really be having mainstream success. Next up, I've uploaded 2 tracks by Sharp Class, Tales of a Teenage Mind and Where I'd Rather Be. The mod revival anthem, Tales of a Teenage Mind, was on their debut album which came out last year, and I've already included it before on the Power Pop Shakers playlist, but I've added it again because they've done a new video where they look much cooler, even though they're driving at certain points in the video, the Trotters Independent Traders Reliant Robin. Where I'd Rather Be is a new track which is available at the moment just as a download. I'm hoping it'll eventually finish up on their next album, and I think it's their strongest track to date. There's a real maturity to the lyrics and a really nuanced arrangement as well, so that they're almost achieving the standard of their heroes, the Jam. Also on the Power Pop Shakers playlist you'll find Other Wild by the Small Square, and this is from their 2015 self-titled album, which has been remastered this year and is now available as a download. The nondescript band name hides the presence of Paul Chastain, no less, ex-Velvet Crush, and also John Louis Richardson, who is the ex-Gin Blossoms drummer. So that's quite a pedigree they've got. Other Wild harks back to Velvet Crush and their Birdsian sound, but some of the other tracks on here are almost reflective Americana. Next up, it's The Cleaners from Venus and the track The Beautiful Stoned, which is taken from Martin Newell's latest CD cassette K7. It's amazing the sounds he can produce at his at home on his Porter studio. Beautiful tunes just continue to cascade out of his head. The McCartney-esque Golden Girlfriend, the MOR-ish Finding Any Town, and the poignant A Wedding Band are just sheer class. Next up, I've uploaded 2 tracks by the G-Strings, Speed Soul Racer and On the Run, and they're taken from the LP cassette Speed Soul Racer on the Danger House Skylab label. And it's also out on Wonder, Ghost Highway, Strychnine Records and KOTJ. They're German punk rockers and they've been together since 1994, refining their energetic old school rock and roll with melodic hooks. And it would be great to actually see them come over to the UK to play a few gigs. Next up, uploaded 2 tracks by the Shivers, Wreckless and My Love Calling. And these are 2 2023 tracks which are available as downloads. The Shivers are power pop legends from Milwaukee who were around from 1979 to about 1982, only managed to release a single at the time, but their stature has really grown over the years. So much so that 3 of the original members have got back together and recorded these tracks. Jill Kosaris, the female singer, Jim Richardson, Scott Kruger, and plus they've added a new bassist. Both these tracks are just instant classics and easily the equal of some of the classics from the new wave era, such as Blondie, Pretenders, Go-Go's or the Bangles. Next up, it's a band I've been waiting for to release this album, Uniboys. The track Let's Watch a Movie has been uploaded, and also the full album Buy This Now. The LP CD is out now on Curation, and it's the follow-up to last year's Do It All Next Week. They've got a slightly slicker sound this time round, due in part to the production skills of the D'Addario brothers. And the guitars are a little sharper, and there are nods to Beach Boy harmonies in there, and also some added keyboards courtesy of the Lemon Twigs. And this was a real surprise when I heard about it. It's the track Hand Grenade by Woolworthy, and it's from the LP Electric Heartbreak, which is coming out on the Boss Tunage label on the 17th of November this year. And it's their return after nearly 20 years for this these Chicago mini legends. I was lucky to see them live in the early 2000s and was just blown away by them. They had a charismatic frontman in Rudy Gonzalez and a set of heavy guitar-driven power pop songs. If you can find a CD comp called Recycler that was put out by Boss Tunage 20 odd years ago, you'll be, I suspect, like me, really blown away by this band and want to check out the rest of their catalogue. And next up, it's another band that's returning after many years away. It's Rain Parade, and I've uploaded the track Bring You Back, which is taken from their reunion LP CD Last Rays of a Dying Sun on the Flat Iron Recordings and Label 51 labels. The concise songwriting and the fragility of the vocals are a real plus here, and it stands up well, I think, against their 1980s recordings, although I would have still liked to have heard the guitars occasionally breaking free from the very disciplined song structures. Next, it's a track by Swansea Sound, 20th Century, and this is UK indie pop royalty. You've got Hugh Williams, who is the vocalist with Pooh Sticks, Rob Percy and Amelia Fletcher, who've been together in various bands right back to Tallulah Gosh and Heavenly, and are currently in the Catenary Wires. And also on drums, Ian Button from Papernut Cambridge, who I've featured before on Power Pop Shakers. And it's taken from the LP CD 20th Century on the Skep Wax label. Intelligent lyrics, loosely focused on life in the 21st century for those who came of age in the 20th century, help make this, I think, a bit special. And next, somebody else who's done a real return to form, Kurt Baker, and I've uploaded the track Bright Blue Sky, and it comes from the Wicked Cool LP and CD Rock and Roll Club. The American expat has been living in Madrid for many years. This is a very commercial release with some influences from 70s glam and also 90s Britpop. There's strangely enough a hint of Oasis in the straight ahead rock and roll on some of the tracks here. Next up, it's the Maharajas and Talking to the Man. This is Swedish garage rockers, and this is a 7-inch single which comes out on the French label Rogue. If you like Muck and the Myers, you'll probably enjoy this, and I disagree with the record label's press release though, when they say they're influenced here by Ian Dury. I can't hear that at all. Next, it's some more tracks by the prolific Class, who are really turning into the band of 2023. I've uploaded the track Coward's Disaster and also the full album If You've Got Nothing. The 4-piece come from Tucson, Arizona, and they continue to be a revelation, pilfering influences from original UK and US punk bands and astounding with some really great hook-laden tunes. The latest LP, If You've Got Nothing, is out now on Feel It, and it's been recorded again by power pop mini legend Matt Rendon of the Resonars, and he actually pops up on Coward's Disaster, contributing some organ and backing vocals. And also on the Power Pop Shakers playlist, you'll find Stop Dragging Me Down by the Mono Men, and it's from the Danger House Skylab LP of the same name, and that just came out a bit earlier in the month. And it's a reissue of the classic garage punk debut, which was released on the Eastress label back in 1990. And also on Danger House Skylab, I've uploaded the track Picture My Face by Teenage Head with Marky Ramone from the LP of the same name. It's a reissue of the Canadian Punks getting together with drummer Marky Ramone back in 2003, although the tracks weren't actually released till 2008. And what they did was re-record some of their most well-known tracks. Next up, I've uploaded Boom and Bust by Nick Frater, which comes from the CD Bivouac on Think Like a Key Music, and it was released, or is going to be released rather, on the 17th of November of this year, and it's his 11th studio album. Based on the track that's been released so far, it could turn out to be a melodic rock masterclass, I think, and collaborators on the album include Roger Joseph Manning Jr. And from an artist who's been around for quite a few years to some a new band called True Stars, and I've uploaded Sing Along, which comes from their debut LP, self-titled LP, on the 5767841 label. They're a three-piece and they're based in Bellingham, Washington State, led by Jody Wagmeyer, who used to be in Moral Crux. Like Kurt Baker mentioned earlier, bizarrely I can actually hear influences from Oasis on here. And yet another track that's been uploaded, and it's Garbage by LMNOP, and it's taken from the CD LMNO3 on Think Like a Key Music. This was originally released on cassette only back in 1985, and Stephen Fivet, who records as LMNOP, has a seemingly endless supply of twee, super catchy power pop. If you like Second Grade, Friends of Cesar Romero, Tullycraft, you really need to hear LMNOP. Okay, and that's it for now. The power pop releases are coming thick and fast, so keep looking at the playlist, and I'll upload another video updating you on new releases in a few weeks' time. Okay, take care everybody.